Greetings and good vibes, everyone. Welcome back to the Leon Block. I'm your guy, John Tell. We are back with another webisode, bringing you all the goods. Today, it really is just a little bit of news, a little bit of information I want to share with you. Nothing too, um, not too much information today, so bear with me. All right. Hope everyone is doing okay today. Hope you are well wherever you are in your hood. I am not okay with it being fall. I just wasn't prepared for it. In my head, it is still summertime. But I digress. Let's get into it. I really don't talk much about Russia. But today I kind of want to, or the Ukrainian war, the war on Ukraine, whatever they're calling it. But today I kind of do want to touch on it a little bit because Russia's poised to formally annex 4 regions of Ukraine seized by Russia's military after its invasion in February. The Kremlin says President Vladimir Putin will announce the annexations during a speech in Moscow on Friday. This week, authorities in the 4 Russian-led regions said residents voted overwhelmingly in support of referendums on whether to become part of the Russian Federation. The votes were condemned as a sham and a violation of international law by Ukraine, the United Nations, and the U.S. and its allies. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials have finished excavating a mass burial site in a forest in the town of Museum. I'm sorry, I did not check the pronunciation of that. Forgive me. Which Ukraine recaptured in a counteroffensive this month. Kharkiv's regional governor said most of the 436 people buried at the site had their hands bound with gunshot wounds and signs of torture. It's crazy. German officials are warning of an environmental disaster in the Baltic Sea after the Nord Stream pipelines that carry Russian gas to terminals in Europe ruptured on Monday in what the US and EU officials have called an act of sabotage. Swedish scientists, say they detected 2 large underwater explosions shortly before pressure through the pipelines plummeted. One of the leaks is producing a nearly half-mile wide pool of bubbling seawater, and officials estimate that some 300,000 metric tons of methane have vented into the atmosphere from that site alone, which would put it among the worst gas leaks in history. Methane is a significant contributor to global heating, and it can linger in the atmosphere for decades before breaking down, with about 80 times the warming power of carbon dioxide. Vice President Kamala Harris wrapped up her 4-day trip to Asia with a visit to the demilitarized zone separating North Korea and South Korea. And I watched this on Democracy Now! These articles are coming from Democracy Now! Tonight. And she don't know what the hell she's doing. That's all I'm going to say. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces killed 4 Palestinians and wounded more than 44 others during a Wednesday morning raid on the Jenin refugee camp. It's the latest in a series of near-daily raids that the Israeli military has been carrying out in Palestinian communities. 3 of the 4 men who were killed were members of the armed group Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, according to Al Jazeera. In Oakland, California, at least 6 adults were injured in a mass shooting on Wednesday. The shooting occurred at Ruddsdale Newcomer High School, which serves students who are at risk of not graduating and have recently immigrated to the U.S. after fleeing their home countries because of violence and instability. Targeted. In Illinois, wounded survivors of the families of 3 people killed in a mass shooting during a 4th of July parade in Highland Park have filed a lawsuit against gunmaker Smith & Wesson, 2 gun stores, the man who's been charged in the shootings, and his father. The lawsuit charges the gunmaker and the gun sellers acted with negligence and employed deceptive practices, arguing that the shooter was the type of young consumer susceptible to Smith & Wesson's deceptive and unfair marketing practices, and that the shooting was both predictable and preventable. Californian Governor Gavin Newsom signed a legislation Wednesday making it easier for farm workers to cast their ballots in union elections by mail and protecting them from retaliation from their employers. In a statement, Newsom said, California's farm workers are the lifeblood of our state, and they have the fundamental right to unionize and advocate for themselves in the workplace. Which obviously, but just last month, Newsom had threatened to veto the bill, also known as AB 2183, but reversed his opposition only after Biden and top Democrats spoke in favor of it. That followed a long grassroots campaign waged by thousands of farm workers and their allies who in August marched over 300 miles to California's state capital in Sacramento to demand protections for union supporters. United Farm Workers President Teresa Romero celebrated the bill becoming law. Thousands of prisoners in Alabama began a labor strike this week to protest over crowded, understaffed, and dangerous prison conditions. The strikers warned that despite a 2020 intervention by the U.S. Justice Department, conditions within Alabama prisons remain incredibly unsafe, inhumane, and exploitive. The work stoppage, which also calls for sentencing and parole reforms, began on Monday after 3 months of planning by prisoners and with help from groups including Alabama Prison Advocacy and Incarcerated Families United. And in New York City, never before seen images show people incarcerated in the notorious Rikers Island jail, locked in caged showers and sleeping next to a pile of feces. The pictures were obtained by the news outlet Gothamist after the Manhattan District Attorney's Office requested them while investigating the consequences for people held at Rikers as they await trial, sometimes for months or years. Let's not forget about Khalil Browser. This comes as the Texas Jail Project has documented severe overcrowding at the Harris County Jail in Houston, which has surpassed Rikers with 19 custody deaths in the first 8 months of 2022, more than the total number of people who died in the jail in 9 of the last 10 years. Meanwhile, a federal judge has ordered Los Angeles County to fix its massive backup and address squalid conditions in the jail's overcrowded inmate reception center after revelations of horrific treatment, and ruled that officers are now barred from chaining anyone to a chair for more than 4 hours after some have been found to be chained for days. I think I will leave things there on that note and maybe touch back in with a little bit more information that I have for y'all with some news. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Not sure. But thank you, of course, as always, for viewing and supporting us. And if you'd like to support more or you're looking for advertisement opportunities, interviews, or want to provide information, DM us on Facebook or email us, text us at the contacts at the bottom of the screen. And if you're looking to donate to the cause, you can find out how at the bottom of the screen as well. Of course, y'all, we love y'all. We must be clear and understand what the fundamental problem is and understand the root problem is, in fact, the system. And the only way we can change it is if we bring leaders into the fold and commit to the long haul, connect through community. The media is what helps us grow by donating or sharing this stream. If you want real, raw news as we all want, we've got to do it ourselves. And being informed is important. As you know, without real and raw information, true and real information, we're left in the dark. And we're left with the weak spot. So we've got to change that. All of your support means so much. Every like, comment, share, discussion, it means that people really want to know what's going on in the world. It means people have the solutions and the ideas. The Leon Block is here to be your platform, your mic, and your voice. The Leon Block is a grassroots independent media platform by the people seeking to fill the gaps news deserts have created. Left and socialist leaning. We are pro-Black. We cover stories of police brutality, human rights, environmental issues, racism, and more in a more in-depth way that the mainstream can't, won't, and does not provide. Our mission is to change the way citizens look at media, to embolden everyone to take part in politics and become an integral and active part of their community, to enrich all of our lives and to combat racism and change the way we experience our lives. We focus on police-involved cases and incidents of racism, spirituality, world issues, and news, history, music, and art, and environment. Thank you for rocking with us tonight, y'all. As always, make sure you meditate on your path, celebrate your being, liberate your spirit, and educate yourself. I'm John Tell. Have a good one.